How you doing?
So a lot of times when you listen to pressers or your opponents, yes, there's some great wide receivers, but you were the name that came up as like the threat to watch. So what do you do to prepare as a boot all weapons pocket receiver that makes you the biggest threat?
Yeah, I would say initially that Coach Sark says that tight end's second most important position in our offense, and so I just went into every week trying to prepare like it was. Especially when I wasn't in that tight end role, I went into every week preparing like I was. My sophomore, junior year, obviously I was behind a very good and talented JT Sanders. Yeah, the Panthers now, obviously, and I think I got my way of preparation, my will to prepare like the starter. Just seeing how he went through the whole process, I think I learned a lot from him.
Gunnar, how did Cherry Creek and Dave Logan help prepare you to get to this point right now?
Yeah, obviously playing at a school like Cherry Creek under a legendary coach like Coach Dave Logan, Coach Betty, obviously really helped me in the blocking game. Playing in an offense really got me ready for college football. I think it was really a pro-style offense that I've played in really since middle school. We used the same system in middle school going into high school, and then obviously using the pro-style offense in college with Coach Sark, who's to me probably the most brilliant offensive-minded head coach in the country. So I was super lucky to have him in my corner, super lucky to have Coach Banks in my corner.
Gunnar, what do you remember your Cotton Bowl games going against Ohio State? Two safeties, but primarily number 8, Nathan Ransom.
Yeah, I mean, just the first thing I can say about Ohio State is probably one of the best defenses I've ever played. Just best all around, best players, best scheme. Obviously having those two guys in the back end to help get everybody organized, everybody lined up. What Lathan can do, obviously in the run game, come and fill. That was the first thing that kind of stuck out to me when we were preparing for him, is just his will to come and fill his gap and lay the boom on you. Really, he wasn't afraid to hit anybody, and it was the same with Caleb Downs. So, we tried our best to prepare for them, but in the end, they were just, I think we got a little bit out schemed and, just did what we could, but really heck of a player right in the back end.
Gunnar, have you met formally with the Dallas Cowboys?
I have not met formally with the Dallas Cowboys.
Are you wanting to at some point?
I'll meet with anybody who wants to meet with me, absolutely. But I'm just really enjoying this process. Super cool to be here. Super grateful for the teams that have taken the time to talk to me, both formally and informally.
Gunnar, how much have you seen how artificial 2 years of business in Texas, how prepared is he?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think he's going to live up to the hype. Absolutely. He's one of my good buddies off the field, and just coming with what he's come through his whole life has been football. So. When he really has a chance to open up off the field, I think he turns a lot of people's heads. He's not what a lot of people expect him to be. He's very open if he gets comfortable around you. So, on the field, I know he's really fallen into that leadership role as he needs to be. I know a lot of the guys are really pulling for him and super excited to play alongside of him.
At this time last year, people were wondering, who's going to step in for JT Sanders because he's been there a couple of big years now. People are kind of wondering the same thing about his next level tight end. Can you tell us what you think about Jordan Washington, Spencer Sanders, Will Randall, those guys, and kind of who's next for guys?
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of them. I really just think the process at the University of Texas is second to none. The development phase of it, Coach Sark knows how to develop players. I think I'm a walking example of that. There's other guys that are walking examples of that. Barron Sorrell, Alfred Collins, guys that waited their turn, and then as soon as they were put into the moment, obviously shined. But I think something that Coach Sark does very well is have trust in his players, and then allows his players to have trust in him. He throws us in the fire from a young age. I played all 4 years at the University of Texas. Guys like Barron played all 4 years at the University of Texas. So having that develop phase at the University of Texas, I think that's what's allowing them to have, more numbers of guys going to the combine every year, more guys getting drafted, just more guys getting fully developed and playing to their full potential.
When you look at guys, other tight ends in the NFL, you look at a guy like Brock Bowers, when he did his first. How much you watch someone like that? What's the thing they could pick up from you looking forward?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, guys like Brock are truly changing the landscape of what a tight end can do and what a tight end is going to continue to do in the National Football League. Guys like George Kittle, Travis Kelce, TJ Hawkinson, guys like that. Obviously Jake Ferguson with the Cowboys. I try to take a lot of things from each and one of those guys' games. I like to try to be the best balanced tight end that I could possibly be, because I think that every guy that I just named is one heck of a balanced tight end, as well as really every tight end one around the league. Most tight end twos, I think they can do a little bit of everything well.
Doing some of the similar things with Brock on the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to take some things from Brock's game. Obviously, Winning the Mackey multiple years and, having his historic run at Georgia, and then obviously what he did last season in the Raiders. Obviously that's a perfect world situation for any tight end coming out of this class. But, I've been in this role before. I've been, going into a year where, it might be my time to shine, might not. So I kind of look at it as a, go in and get your opportunity, take your opportunity kind of thing.
Gunnar, did you meet with the Broncos?
I did. I formally met with Denver, yes, sir.
How was that like for you? Did you grow up a Broncos fan?
I did, yeah. I did grow up a Broncos fan. Obviously, I was, 20-minute drive from downtown Denver. Grew up going to a lot of games. Grew up going to Dove Valley for some, camp practices. So it was definitely a dream come true. But I would say that every team that I met with formally, the chemistry was absolutely there, and I felt super comfortable from the jump.
How many did you meet with?
I met with 7 teams formally.
7?
Yes, sir.
Who did you meet with Houston? Do you know?
I met with Los Angeles Rams, the Denver Broncos, Philadelphia Eagles, Cincinnati Bengals, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Chicago Bears, and the New York Jets.
You plan on doing all your drills? You get really off the road there?
Yeah, I plan on doing mostly everything. I'll see how I feel, kind of when the workout comes, when it comes time, but very comfortable with what I'm putting up in the preparation aspect. I think one of the reasons I went and trained in Nashville with Jeremy Holt was, my agent represents a lot of these, big-time NFL guys, and they've all gone through the same process down in Nashville. The reason I went down to Nashville wasn't, obviously to run a perfect 40. It wasn't to run a perfect broad. It wasn't, obviously to run a perfect 3-cone. It was to really learn the tight end position. And we had mentors down there like Jordan Matthews, who's with the Carolina Panthers, who's going into his 12th year in the National Football League. And he's taught me and the rest of us some great techniques on the recovery aspect, how to keep your body going, because ultimately your best ability is your availability, especially in a league like the National Football League. So using some of those techniques to help my body relax a little bit, some of the nagging things from the season going away. So feel great, super excited.
Strong class at tight end position. Fit into the mix.
Yeah, I'm super, super grateful, super lucky, super blessed to be here, especially with such a great tight end class. But, I think everyone in this class can do a little bit of everything. I think that if they couldn't, they wouldn't be here. So it's going to be super cool to compete alongside of them. I've watched a lot of them. It's super cool to put, names to faces and get to know some of these guys that ultimately saw on the recruiting boards coming out of high school. Now it's super cool that we're all, at the NFL Combine.
You talked about doing start, kind of sitting down and improving your game from final year. What do you need to improve to get to at the next level as compared to what you compared going into last year? What do you think you compare now?
I would say I'm my own biggest critic. I think I'm, tougher on myself than any coach has ever been that I've played for. I would just say being able to fall back on teammates, being more of a vocal leader is something that I really need to work on going into the National Football League. Now, physically, I think that focusing so much on being a threat in the vertical pass game to replace those traits that JT Sander had in our offense, it was obviously the tight end position is very important in the University of Texas's offense with the production and the records that both JT and I have set at the University of Texas. I think we set the bar, the standard pretty high. I think, the blocking game kind of took a backseat to that. Not saying I wasn't working on it, just, I think I put better stuff on tape in the prior years than I did this last season. I think some of my technique kind of went out the window as I was focusing more on, working on my speed, working on my explosiveness. So just working on that, working on getting my hand placement right, working on getting my pad level right. I think it's going to be very important in the National Football League to be able to thrive and be a balanced tight end.
With the Eagles and how you saw you were, national best season, obviously they have Dallas Goedert and great competition. How you feel like this game?
Yeah, absolutely. I think my body's pretty similar to Calcaterra. I love watching him. I love watching Dallas Goedert. Obviously, he's been with the Eagles for a long time. I like to say I take a lot of stuff from his game when I watch him on film. So, to be able to learn from Dallas Goedert and from Calcaterra in that offense, and be able to play alongside guys like Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, and block for guys like that, I think it would be, a blessing in itself. But it was great. I thought the chemistry was absolutely there. Like I said before, the chemistry was there in really every formal interview I did. I've heard the stories from the Combine. The interviews are so long and it's long days and you're at the hospital for, hours on end. I was at the hospital for 15 minutes. Really had the whole day off yesterday, and then, yeah, it's great. And then really just the interviews, it's just talking ball. You're out of there before, you really even know it. They're telling you, you got to get out of there, when you thought you've been in there for 5 minutes. So it's really just talking ball. I've really this is such a cool opportunity. It's a dream come true, and really appreciate the opportunity.
All the prospects this time of year get labeled, deal with labels. You're a receiver. You're late. Would you agree? Receiver first, blocker second, and tight end. What do you think about that?
Well, I would say that, maybe I'm labeled as a receiver right now, but going back to my film and what I've done in the past, what I've done my first 3 years at Texas, I've played a lot of college football at a very high level. I've played in a very high-powered, high-level, high IQ offense for a long time. I like to say I know that offense like the back of my hand. So I think my versatility, my IQ sets me apart a little bit. I like to think that I can go into a building, vibe very well with guys. I like to think, I was a part of a class that changed the dynamic, changed the culture at the University of Texas in the locker room alongside guys like Jake Majors and Hayden Connor and Quinn Ewers. We learned from guys like Roshan Johnson and Bijan and Moro Ojimo, DeMarvion Overshone, guys like that. So they left the program in pretty good hands. Each class that goes through and is part of the leadership council, I think that they're just trying to maintain that standard and set a new bar. But Coach Sark came in with a great vision. Some guys didn't want to buy in. Obviously, they weren't with our program anymore. The guys that wanted to buy in, we went from, a 5-7 team to back-to-back Final Four college football playoff team in 3-4 short years. So I think that speaks a lot on our culture and what my class as well as classes before me did at the University of Texas.
Whenever I turn on your tape, I'm blown away by your physicality, both the passing game and run block. Where do you find the drive to be able to just go through people and to come down the ball in situations where most people otherwise wouldn't?
Yeah, I want to play for my teammates. I want to win for my teammates. I want to win for my community. I want to win for everybody back home. I want to prove people wrong, but it's super easy to play hard when you got guys to fall back on like Quinn, like our entire offense. I think, that was probably as close-knit group as I've ever played with this last season, the last 2 seasons. So, we had 11 guys go to the Combine last year. We got 14 this year. So, people were doubting if we could even make it back to the college football playoff this year with the 12-team playoff. But, obviously we continue to prove people wrong at the University of Texas, and I believe that they're going to be in great hands. But going back to your question, it's just super easy to play for guys like Quinn who are fighting through injury all year, and Jaden Blue who runs his butt off and, had to step into a running back 1 role when Sed went down in fall camp, and guys who stepped right in and became, mentors and leaders for young guys like Matt Golden and Isaiah Bond. So, I think when you got a lot of guys like that truly buy in, it's really easy to play for guys like that in your offense. Excuse me?
The team that chooses to draft, what is that team getting?
Locker room guy, one, not to mention one damn good football quarterback, can make the throws, obviously when he's healthy, can run the ball when he's not healthy, obviously with that big pickup at A&M, pocket presence, but really just one of the things, and I've told every team this, one of the things that I really respect most about Quinn is his ability to be level-headed through all the crap that he goes through, on the field and off the field, goes through a lot of hate in the media, I would say. We're not blind to that. Obviously we try to stay away from that, but creeps up on us every now and then, and just his ability to come in every day with the same level-headed, same killer instincts, same, want to win. I think that's one of the things I respect most about Quinn. That's one of the things that NFL teams are going to love about Quinn.
What did you learn from Dave Logan at Cherry Creek and what it means to return from
growing up as a Colorado kid, obviously I said this before, I took that trip down I-25 or up I-25 down to, it was Invesco, then Sports Authority, so it's had a couple of names, but it was kind of, it always lingers in the back of my mind. That was the dream back in the day. It's obviously shifted a little bit just to get to the National Football League, play in the National Football League, thrive in the National Football League, but, I think it goes pretty unnoticed that Coach Logan's way that he develops players and he knows what's best for guys. He was asking me what my weight was when I was a freshman. So I think he always kind of had a plan that I was going to have my hand in the dirt at some point. I made the switch only a few weeks before my before my junior year of high school. Put my hand in the dirt for the first time. The guy who was playing tight end at the time was George Fitzpatrick. He was an All-American tackle. They moved him 1 gap in, moved me 1 gap in, put my hand in the dirt, and we became the 2 most highly recruited kids in the history of Cherry Creek. So Coach Logan, Coach Betty, they know what they're doing, and one piece of advice I would give to anyone looking to transfer into a school in Colorado, Cherry Creek's your best bet.
Gunnar,
What was it like the meeting with the Broncos, and who'd you talk to?
Yeah, it was a dream come true. Obviously, I talked to Coach Sean Payton, GM George Payton, a lot of guys like that. Would never envision myself being that close and talking to them just about football. But it goes back to just dream big, because if you work at it, if you want to achieve it, if you're bold enough to say it, then you're bold enough to do it. So. From a young age, I told people that I wanted to play in the National Football League. Obviously, it's coming to fruition this week. This is the first step to getting there in the combine. So just doing my best, really enjoying every second of it.
You talk about Texas playing this year to prove people wrong. Is that something that motivates you on an individual level as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there was a lot of uncertainty whether what was going to happen in our offense with the drop-off of the tight end position going into the senior year. But I think that the guys there now are focusing on the same thing. Now they're being questioned. It's a continuous loop. When Cade Brewer left and Jared Wiley transferred, now you got two young guys that they don't know if they can even play the tight end position. They weren't recruited under Coach Sark or Coach Banks at the University of Texas. We signed under Coach Tom Herman. So there was uncertainty. JT went out and set a record. 2 years later, I go out and set a new record. So each year it's been a new standard set for the University of Texas tight end room, and I think it's going to continue to thrive. Obviously, the young guys that have just got there, Jordan Washington, Spencer Shannon, they're going to thrive in that offense. I'm super excited to see what they do.
You don't want to throw across the middle. Can you just speak to your mentality of kind of what you're going through as you're going up?
Yeah, I mean, if Quinn trusts me enough to throw the ball, I'm going to do whatever I can to make the catch. The A&M throw across the middle. Quinn and I had great chemistry. I told him, when in doubt, just throw the ball up. I'm 6'5", I'll go get it for you. But it's not me or him that benefits. It's our whole team. So really, whatever I can do in the run game, in the pass game. If I got to go down and make a tackle on kickoff, if I got to protect the punter, run down and make a tackle on punt, if I got to protect a field goal to tie the game, if I got to catch 10 balls, if I got to spring 4 long runs and catch no balls, I'm going to do whatever it takes to help my team win. Yeah, I did meet with the Bengals formally. It was great. The chemistry was definitely there from the start, like all the rest of my formal interviews. But, I think that it kind of came to mind that I could do this, that I could play in the National Football League. I met with Coach Banks coming into my senior year. I said, I want to win this. I want to win a national championship. I want to win an SEC championship. I want to go back-to-back conference championships in 2 years in 2 different conferences. First team to ever win the SEC in the first year. I wanted to do all that. He told me, the reason that you were behind JT was because he was better in the vertical passing game. You need to get better in the vertical passing game. You need to perfect the Y route tree. That was my role in the years prior. So immediately met with Coach Beckton, did some extra things with Coach Beckton, worked on explosiveness, did some extra throwing with Quinn, got on the jugs, got on the sled, got the young guys on the sled. Really just trying to expose them to what it's like to prepare for every game like a professional, putting myself in the shoes of professionals, acting like a professional, getting 8 hours of sleep, getting my recovery, doing all that. I think just preparing like a pro really set me up really well for the field, and to be a leader in this offense and ultimately on this team.
Thanks, Gunnar.
Thank you, guys.